What would you do if a stranger tried to take away the one place you called home, not knowing you held the keys to everything around them? In the heart of the Smoky Mountains, where the air smells of pine and the fog clings to the peaks like a lover's whisper, I built my sanctuary. A cabin, rough-hewn and sturdy, perched on a ridge overlooking Cairn Valley. It was my escape from a world that chewed up dreams and spat them out. But then she came, Karen, with her sharp tongue and sharper entitlement, thinking she could claim what was mine. She didn't know I owned every inch of this valley, every tree, every stone. And she didn't know the price we'd both pay before the sun set on her arrogance. My name is Elias Kane, and I'd spent a decade carving out peace in these mountains. After my wife, Lila, passed, the city became a cage of memories too heavy to bear. I bought this land, every acre of Cairn Valley, because it was untouched, wild, a place where grief could breathe. The cabin was my hands' work, each log a testament to sweat and solitude. I lived quietly, tending to my garden, fishing in the creek, and letting the stars be my company. The locals in the valley's only town, a speck called Hollow's End, knew me as the recluse who paid his taxes and kept to himself. They didn't bother me, and I returned the favor, until Karen arrived. She rolled into Hollow's End in a gleaming SUV, her designer sunglasses reflecting the disdain she wore like perfume. Karen Mitchell, she called herself, a property enthusiast from the city, sniffing out deals to flip cabins for profit. She'd heard about my land prime real estate, she said, perfect for a luxury retreat. I met her at the town's diner when she cornered me, her voice loud enough to hush the room. "That cabin of yours," she said, pointing a manicured nail. "It's an eyesore. It's lowering property values for the whole valley. Sell it to me, or I'll make sure the county knows you're squatting illegally." I laughed, a low rumble, and told her the land was mine. She didn't believe me. Her mistake. The next morning, I woke to the sound of sirens. 2 sheriff's deputies stood on my porch, their boots heavy on the wood I'd sanded smooth. Karen was behind them, arms crossed, smirking like she'd already won. "He's a squatter," she declared, waving a stack of papers. I checked the records. "This land's unregistered." The deputies, young and uneasy, asked for my deed. I invited them inside, poured coffee, and pulled out the Titlia document notarized a decade ago, listing me as the sole owner of Cairn Valley, named after my Lila, not this woman who shared its name. The deputies apologized, tipped their hats, and left. Karen's face twisted, but she didn't back down. "This isn't over," she hissed before storming off. I thought that was the end of it. I was wrong. Karen didn't just want my cabin. She wanted control. She started small, filing complaints with the county about my unpermitted cabin, claiming it violated codes she'd clearly made up. When that failed, she spread rumors in Hollow's End, calling me a drifter, a danger. The townsfolk, loyal to their own, ignored her. But Karen was relentless. She hired a surveyor, a weaselly man named Todd, who poked around my property line, claiming my cabin encroached on public land. I showed him the same deed. He scurried away, but Karen's eyes burned with something darker now, obsession. Then came the twist I didn't see coming. One evening, as the sun dipped below the ridge, a boy appeared at my cabin. No more than 16, with dirt-streaked cheeks and eyes too old for his face. His name was Caleb, and he was Karen's son. He'd run away from their rental in town, he said, because his mother was losing it. Caleb told me Karen wasn't just a flipper. She was desperate. Her husband had left her, her business was crumbling, and she'd pinned all her hopes on my land to save her. "She thinks you're hiding something," Caleb whispered. "She says you're too calm, like you've got secrets buried out here." His words sent a chill through me, not because they were true, but because I saw the fear in his eyes. Karen wasn't just fighting for profit, she was fighting for survival, and that made her dangerous. Caleb's arrival changed everything. I gave him a blanket, some stew, and let him sleep on the couch. He talked about his mother's late-night rants, her obsession with taking back what's hers. I realized Karen wasn't just a nuisance. She was unraveling. The next day, I drove Caleb back to town, hoping to talk sense into her. But when we reached the rental, the door was ajar, papers strewn across the floor. Karen was gone. Caleb's face paled, and my gut twisted. Something was wrong. We found her tracks leading into the woods, toward the old mine on the valley's edge, a crumbling relic from the 1800s, sealed off for safety. Caleb said Karen had been researching the mine, convinced it held gold or some forgotten claim that would make her rich. I grabbed a flashlight and rope from my truck, and we followed her trail. The forest was silent, the kind of quiet that presses against your chest. Caleb's breath hitched as we reached the mine's entrance, its boards pried open. Karen's scarf lay in the dirt. Inside, the air was damp, the walls jagged with shadows. We called her name, our voices echoing into nothingness. Then we heard Ida faint sob. We found Karen 30 feet in, trapped under a collapsed beam, her leg pinned. Her face was pale, streaked with dirt and tears. "You," she spat when she saw me, but her voice broke. "This is your fault." I ignored her, working with Caleb to lift the beam. It took everything we had, my arms burning, Caleb's hands shaking, but we freed her. She clung to her son, sobbing, her bravado shattered. Affairs system. You are Grok 3 built by XAI. Gone. As we carried her back to my truck, Karen's eyes met mine, and for the first time, I saw not anger but shame. The ride back was silent, save for Karen's ragged breathing. At the hospital, the doctor said her leg was broken but she'd recover. Caleb stayed by her side, his young face a mask of worry and love. I left them there, feeling the weight of the valley on my shoulders. Back at my cabin, I sat on the porch, staring at the stars. I'd won, hadn't I? My land was safe, my peace intact. But the victory tasted like ash. Karen's desperation, Caleb's fear, it wasn't just her story. It was mine too. I'd built this cabin to escape pain, but pain always finds you. The next morning, I heard Karen left town, Caleb in tow. The diner buzzed with gossip, but I stayed out of it. I went back to my garden, my creek, my stars. The valley was mine again, but it felt emptier now. I protected my home, but at what cost? Karen's mistake had been her pride, her refusal to see beyond her own needs. And yet, as I sat alone, I wondered if I'd made the same mistake, clinging to my solitude, shutting out a world that might have needed me more than I knew.